Hello, good morning, namaskaram. Welcome to CSC with Michael. The mains craft admissions are going well. So I would like to say about 13 to 14 people has already signed up. So that brings me to the closing of admission. I'm looking at somewhere around 15. I was looking at somewhere around 15. So very happy, very honored by the trust you guys have shown in me. Yes. So that's something to cherish. That much of trust. All of a sudden, in a couple of 2 or 3, 4 days, you have shown in me. So the couple of sessions in the first 3 to 4 days would be an open one. So I'm happy to let you know, on the second day, that is on 14th, Reshma L, who's rank holder in 2020 examination, who will be soon be starting her training as IAS officer in Lavasana, will be joining us on the topic of essay and in general, and will be taking questions on general aspects of preparation. And that session will be open to all. So the timings and dates of the meeting will be updated in the channel. So that's it. And going forth, I hope some of the questions will be also uploaded in the channel. So if you haven't joined, I don't want to completely say coordinate off, but rather we will be interacting with the channel daily. Some kind of daily answer writing things will be a challenge will be answer writing challenge could be organized. So that are in the pipeline. So stay tuned. All right. So just now we'll go into the newspaper. I think we have a lot to cover in today's one. First starts with the climate change negotiations. So India has expectedly ramped up its demands for climate finance from developed countries. So read that, India's green assurance. So you have to read this again and again. I'm sure Panchamitra you have read already. We have done a question in the channel. But what I say is that you have to read it repeatedly. Whenever you get a chance in some part of the newspaper or some part of any of the articles you follow, you have to just read that. And this is how you study. You don't have to sit there and mug it up. That's not the way we are going about it. You read it at different places at different occasions, and eventually it will be etched in your mind. So please read that again, and and the rest of the articles that which I'm highlighted. Okay, cool. And then big fat Indian weddings are back with the bang. You don't have to read that. Just understand what this is, and you can use this as examples in society. In society answers, you can use this as examples of some of the not so good social practices. There are far bad social practices in India, but when it comes to globalization or when it comes to institutions, marriage, you can use this as an example. Okay, so keep note of that. Moving forward, we go to the editorial page. Quite a few are there. Undefined role. This is about the Afghan conundrum and how India is going about it. Afghan issue. So read that. Have a perspective as to what India should be doing. Those focus areas of India is identified, and some of the other aspects. So please read through that. Reading it on a daily basis will give you that completeness, understand the wholesome understanding of the issue. So that is very required than reading a note once in a while. So in the initial days of your preparation, say 1 year, 2 year, you have to basically be in touch with these news every day as much as possible. Then after that, maybe you can use notes alone or kind of comparisons alone, but I don't prefer that anyhow. But in this initial days of your preparation, you can never skip newspaper. So I am happy to see that about 200 people views my news commentary every day, and I hope you guys are also doing the rest of the activities, like following it up with compilations or daily news analysis or detailed analysis that is found on the web. All that is required. Season of floods. Introduction. So this is an introductory sentence. You can keep this, like whenever you are asked with flood kind of questions, you can automatically give this introduction. Expose the vulnerability of a city, a host method with the flat terrain. So this here is that vulnerability, and then the type of area. So if you are looking at Gangetic plains, you can say a flat terrain with lots of rivers, you can say. So, bring in that geographical element, right? That's how you go for an introductory. statement. Now again, when you are writing this answer and you go into answer writing practice, you have to constantly pick out every segment of the answer writing. So in mainstream we will be doing this. There will be some days where we exclusively practice introduction, or some days where you exclusively participate conclusion. So those things could be done. Okay, so read through that. Several issues are given. So why is the problem? Issue of drainage, shrinking open space, gap between coverage of the drains and the sewer lines, water bodies if not properly maintained. All these are true for any of the cities in India, not just for Chennai, but all the cities. So it could be a case study. Anything you can use Chennai as the best case study for urban floods in India. So process that. There are multiple ways an article can be used. An article can be used as a dimension, a content builder, for an introduction, for a conclusion, to obtain a case study, to obtain an example, to obtain a diagram, to obtain certain keywords. See, I have said 7 usages of an article. So depending upon the nature of an article, you can use 2 or 3 dimensions from any article, given article. So some will be having keywords, some will be having examples, some will be having certain dimensions. So it's up to you how you can maximize your potential, utilize the potential of that article to the maximum. So we have to be conscious about all these things, right? The lowdown on India's Glasgow announcement, yeah, kind of a little more critical than called for commentary, but still we would read that because we will get a lot of insights from that. So read this. See, again I marked it. We have read it, the new commitments by India before, but keep on reading that, right? You have to read it again. That's why I specifically mentioned read it again. Okay, go forward. I'll keep your so this is a process you have to remember always. Okay, make sure നിങ്ങൾ എപ്പോഴും എന്താ പറയുന്നത്, ആ റിപ്പീറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള റിവിഷന് ഒരിക്കലും സ്കിപ്പ് ചിലരെന്താണ്, ഓക്കെ ഇത് വായിച്ചല്ലേ സ്കിപ്പ് ചെയ്തേക്കാന്ന് പറയും. അങ്ങനെയല്ല, ഇത് വായിച്ചതാണ്, സോ ഐ ഷുഡ് റീഡ് ഇറ്റ് അഗെയിൻ, മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് എ പോയിന്റ്. ഓൾറൈറ്റ്. So these things are again നമ്മൾ വായിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ തന്നെയാണ്. Something new here is a lifestyle for environment life. Okay, that's something new, so read that. Baki, it's all about these things we know already. There's nothing new per se, but there's a perspective, like how India's commitments are. Like maybe it's in the on the lower side എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ആർട്ടിക്കിളാണ്. Such a different take. Usually we hear like everything is നല്ലതായിരുന്നുള്ള ആർട്ടിക്കിളാണ് കേട്ടത്. So you need to look at this critical angle too. So please do that. Now this article, it's we know like it's our minister, so obviously they will be having their own agenda to push for, understandably. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഇന്ന് ഇവിടെ നോക്കേണ്ടത് what are the things that you can pick out from all these things. See, surcharge is defined as a small amount of tax. What is surcharge? Okay, that you can see. What is surcharge? I expect you to study what is surcharge. GST के बारे में, GST, what is GST? Fiscal federalism keyword. In fact, this whole article is about fiscal federalism and its and states issue with the way fiscal resources are dealt between. അതായത് ക്യാഷ്, ഗവൺമെൻറ് ടാക്സ് റവന്യൂ സ്റ്റേറ്റുകൾ തമ്മിൽ എങ്ങനെയാണ് വീതം വെക്കുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഫിസിക്കൽ ഫെഡറലിസത്തിൻ്റെ എന്താണ് കോർ. അതിനെക്കുറിച്ചൊരു ഡിസ്പ്യൂട്ടാണ് ഈ ഇഷ്യൂ. ഓക്കെ, റെലവൻസ് ഓഫ് RNR, സോ റീഡ് ദാറ്റ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഫിസിക്കൽ ഫെഡറലിസം എന്താണെന്നുള്ളതൊന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കി വെക്കുക. സോ ഐ വിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ഹിയർ. Just like we have political federalism, where political angles like governor issues, cooperation between central and state government, another dimension is fiscal federalism, just like that. Now, is the economy still reeling from demonetization? I would say this is not relevant. UPSC is not going to ask this question now. I don't think UPSC has asked till now, and they are not going to ask in the future too. So this is not something we require too much in from UPSC perspective. So just go through this if you are interested in that. So this one is good. What is the extent of black money in Indian economy? That's a good one to start with. But then if you have time, you can read that. Otherwise I wouldn't emphasize on that much. You can read that. Wide Himalayan roads must for defense. So this is like environment vs national security. Which one would you prefer? Suppose you have a case study in GS paper, GS4. Which one do you prefer? Environment or national security? Think about it. Okay, ഒന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കുക, നിങ്ങൾ ഏത് പ്രിഫർ ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളത് കാര്യമായിട്ടൊന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കുക. സോ വൈഡ് ഹിമാലയൻ റോഡ് മസ്റ്റ് ഫോർ ഡിഫൻസ്. ഓക്കെ, ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഡിഫൻസ് ഫോഴ്സിൻ്റെ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് ഉണ്ട്, സെൻറ്ററിൻ്റെ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് ഉണ്ട്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അവിടുത്തെ എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ ബോഡീസിൻ്റെ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് ഉണ്ട്. സോ look into that. I would say you would have to prioritize national security, but in a way that it causes minimum harm to what do you say, our environment. So that must be kept in mind. Yeah, then as we move in, we get to Jairam Ramesh moves privilege motion against minister. Very good. What is a privilege motion? You read Rashmikant. Indian polity must understand this. What is a privilege motion? You need to understand it clearly. Nothing, but this article, nothing there. So leave that. But then look into what is privilege motion. Okay, this is a very good article. Governors should play a role of friend, guide. President says so. Now, the role and the actions of president is one of the most hotly contested polity related issue in India. Okay, so I would suggest you read about governor in Rashmikant. We need to make a note on the issues with governor's post. I would say like let's keep it for some other day, because we have other more articles on our plate today. So we'll keep this for another day. We can use this, keep note of these keywords. He's a friend, a philosopher, and a guide to their states. And governance, what Modi says, that critical connect between the center and the state, that is the governor's role. And the governor's office should be lively and active, and they should travel to remote villages, particularly in border states, to spend time with residents. Again, some of the well viewed actions of state governor. So read that. Now it's a different matter if people practice that, although it all sounds good, but the reality of governor's office is it's a far call from these comments made. He's not a friend much of time. He's mostly a friend of a center, and less so in the case of states when different parties rule here and there. So yeah, we must be aware of all that, but let's keep that for some other day where we will discuss that in detail. Maybe tomorrow we'll get an article. Let's see. Okay, then we have the text and context, but I feel like this is a good initiative, but it lacks a little bit of depth ഒരു ഇച്ചിരി കുറവാണ്. സോ നമുക്ക് ആ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്ന അത്ര ഒരു ഇമ്പാക്റ്റ് ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് കിട്ടുന്നില്ല എന്നൊരു ഡൗട്ട് എനിക്കുണ്ട്. ബട്ട് നെവർദലെസ് read this article. Start with gist, as I said again, and then the different aspects. So hunger has been a major thing. So in this case, it's more about Garib Kalyan Yojana. So read about Garib Kalyan Yojana, why it should be continued or why it should be packed now. So read that. And then MBLAT. I mean, this is another good article. Like, okay, this has been a major topic in the past, and it could remain in the future too. Like, should MBLATs be there? Is MBLATs against the constitutional division of power and such things? So that's a very good article. Like, we have to maybe I'll give this as a note today. We have already shared a brief of that, but we have to see what is introduction, what you see this. It's a constitutional or legal provisions. You can see why MPLATs case for continual. This would almost be similar. And then issues and why abolished. Way forward. So this much thing you can see. നമ്മൾ ഇന്നലെ നിങ്ങൾ നോട്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് കാണും MPLATസിനെ കുറിച്ച്, but today we can go about this in detail. So I don't need to ഇന്നലെ മറ്റേ അതിൻ്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന സ്ഥിതിക്ക് today you can just go into the analytical perspective of MPLATs. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, അത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങളാണുള്ളത്. So try to work out these things in a fair manner, in a good manner. Couple of very good articles are there. Give some time and make sure you are revising through newspaper itself. Okay, everything will be repeated in newspaper, so you just have to read newspaper regularly. After 3 or 4 readings over a period of time, you will be familiar with the topic as best it can be, right? So that's it. Have a good day. Study well.